Welcome to Pride Rock for a new movie recap. Today the recap movie is an American thriller science fiction drama movie named Badland, Road to Fury. Don't forget to subscribe for more movies recaps every day. In the beginning scene of the film, we watch a barren land, which was a source of income for many people a few times ago. But here we know from a boy that he never saw this land green, but his father says he saw his land green. A few years back farmers used this farming for growing wheat and grains. Here was not a single plant because of the famine and water scarcity. Most of the farmers left this land. Father of Jerome, Ernest was still optimistic about the fertility of this land. Ernest believes himself. For this purpose, he requires plenty of water which was deficient in that area. For water, in this area, people could kill anyone here. Alongside, thieves appear who are trying to break the door of a small room. Ernest during these notices them and shoots them instantly. When Ernest opens that door, he watches a water pump over there. As he wobbles that pump, it doesn't work because there was no under that which could be pumped by the motor. Later on, both Ernest and Jerome go to water dealers, as there was a single wall out of which the water flows. People who pull out the water from these wells. Actually, the owner of the well considered being the government and they called water dealers. Ernest requests to the water dealer to give him small amount of water for the cultivation of his little piece of his land. Waterman declares that he would be agreed toward water to Ernest, for that he has to pay heavy amount, but Ernest doesn't have that much amount. Later Jerome and Ernest leave for their home. On the way their animal's leg was fractured. Ernest kills his animal on the way. At home we notice the sister of Jerome who serves food to them. Later on, we observe that she was washing the dishes with the merger, due to this shortage of even drinking water. Next day we watch both Jerome and Ernest at a robot shop for the replacement. This helps them to carry their luggage. Here, they find a robot named Sim, as many people were there to buy that robot but Ernest wins at that deal. Now he purchases that report. Up there, a man named Flum wanted to purchase that report. There we notice, Ernest and Jerome leaves for hospital where his mother was admitted. Noticing Jerome's mother for walking requires special frame, which was too expensive and they could not afford that. For the reason, she was in hospital. Jerome spends a little time with his mother. Afterwards, they leave for the house. Ernest and Jerome, while going to their home, stop at gas station, where Ernest takes petrol to quench his thirst. Here they meet a couple who was applying water from them. Further, he requested Ernest to take their baby. He actually wants to sell their baby. Because of their limited resources, they cannot have their baby. Further, Ernest advises him not to sell their baby. Ernest also offers him help with water. The boy informs Ernest about the secret relation of his daughter. Later on, Ernest inquires from his daughter about that. She confesses everything and states that he could not end up her freedom, for that she hates him. Ernest flowers up and locks the girl into the room. Even he seals the windows of her room. One day they notice that the robot was missing from that room. Someone has stolen their robot. Ernest suspects that their robot was possibly theft by Flem, who too was willing to purchase that robot. On the other side the watermen capture Ernest, as they were suspected that Ernest might have stolen his water supplies. For that reason, watermen pawn him hardly so that he gets faint. When Ernest awakes, it was night. He declares to Waterman that he has not stolen those water supplies, but he doesn't believe him and starts to beat him badly. Here both start to fight. Finally, Ernest was successful at taking his rifle. Ernest points about his rifle on Waterman. He was succeeded to escape from there. On returning home, Ernest watches Flum, who was sleeping on the road with the robot of Ernest. For that reason, it was sure to Ernest that he has stolen his robot. The supplies of watermelon too. Ernest takes from to the waterman as culprit to prove his innocence. On their way, Flum and Ernest get thirsty, for that film suggests him to take water out of these supplies. Both take water there. Flum requests Ernest to set him free. They will divide the half reward between them, but Ernest rejects so continues walking. At a distance, he feels his energy down that he couldn't walk. Noticing this, Flum grasps a stone and throw at Ernest. Bleeding starts from his head and he dies. Here Flum visits Ernest's daughter. They both greet and leave from there. Jerome upon his father's delay was anxious. Leaves home to search his father. On the way he finds his robot. Meanwhile, he gets to know that his father dies. Jerome informs about his father's death to Waterman. Everyone considers his death by that machine robot. Later we notice, Flum enters in their life. Now he was their head of family. When Jerome furiously starts to kill the reboot upon his father's death, Flum comes and cools him down. They gossip together. Later Flum tells that he likes his sister, so willing to get married to her and Jerome accepts their relation too. Flum meets a waterman and asks him to work at Ernest's land to supply water. On hearing this he laughs, as he declares that he killed Ernest. Now, he comes to threaten the waterman too by indicating a knife towards him. Waterman agrees out of his fear. As the water flows everyone becomes happy. Flum works day and night to cultivate that land. After a few months, it starts to grow. After that, they all were very happy. Flum marries the sister of Jerome and lives with them in the same house. In the next scene, a few people come to Flum and declare that Ernest has not repaid his debt, so the land could be of them. Flum has worked hard for this land and he couldn't hand this over to anyone easily, but the amount was too heavy which Ernest has to give to the bank. Now, he has to arrange for that amount. Flum visits his friend, the same guy at the start of the movie who wanted to sell his baby. Being acknowledged that he wants to sell his baby, he brings him home to know the price of his baby. But here Flum is informed that he has already made a deal. As they come to take their baby, his friend was shot by Flum and takes the money. During the shooting, he fired the robot, whose automatic system activates and goes to the manufacturing house. Next, Flum repays the loan to the bank which he has taken to sell that baby. Jerome supposed that he has taken money to repay the bank from selling the robot, as no one was suspected of his murder. In the next scene, we notice the robot near the border goes to its manufacturing company. Now Jerome receives the call about the robot's return to its company. Hearing this, he got worried, as Flum told that he has sold the robot. The same day, Jerome inquiries about that robot if he had sold the robot. Upon Flum gets furious. Noticing his anger, Jerome becomes silent for a while. Later on, he states that he is going to meet his mom in the evening. Actually, he plans something else. He wants to cross the border at a manufacturing company. On reaching there, soldiers don't allow him to cross the border as he was younger for this. He meets a girl who asks him that she will help him to cross the border, and she gets him into a van and meets again after crossing the border. In that manufacturing cell, he has been shown with all the features of robot, including CCTV footage. After watching, he gets to know how his father dies. Jerome now knows he was killed by Flum. While watching the video, he gets emotional. In evening, he goes to house but doesn't say anything to Flum about this. In next scene, we notice them going towards a prey. Jerome hides his father's rifle under his bed. On dining table, states to Flum that Robbie was calling him. The boy killed by Flum. He for a while worries that how he could call him as he is dead. Next day, Flum receives a letter, which was written by Jerome, in which Robbie calls him at some point. Flum was confused, but decides to go there to see if he is still alive. He leaves after greeting his wife, where Robbie invites him. He calls Robbie loudly and fell into a dig suddenly. Both of his legs get fractured. Jerome appears in front of him. Flum calls him for help but he shots him. While dying, Flum realizes that Jerome knows all. He declared this all an accident. Later, Jerome goes back, where his sister still waits for her husband. He makes her feel that he knows nothing. He added that she should wait more for her husband. The girl declares here that they could bring their mother home. Now they have enough money to afford that expensive equipment. In the final scene, Jerome deleted the memory to conceal the truth. The movie ends up.